What's going on, everybody? This is Mike with Film Facet, and happy Sunday. Good morning. Woke up to some really bad news. If you're a genre fan, you know who Albert Pyun is. He's been making movies since the early 80s. 1982 was his original first movie he released. Been a fan of his since the 80s, you know. I think Radioactive Dreams was the first time I ever knew anything about Albert, which came out in 85. So, Albert Pyun. Had some interactions with him on social media past couple years. So, he was very much into his fans and very much wanted his fans to interact with him. And so I was a fan, and I did. Wanted to read a little bit from this Variety article about him. Albert Pyun, a genre filmmaker whose sweeping body of work includes cult favorites such as Cyborg, The Sword and the Sorcerer, Nemesis, and the 1990 version of Captain America. He died yesterday in Las Vegas. He was 69. Pyun had been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis and dementia a few years ago. In the past months, his wife and producer Cynthia Kernan had been sharing periodic updates on his condition. More recently, she implored fans to share personal messages with the director after his health began to decline. Kernan confirmed Pyun's death through Facebook, writing, "I sat with him for his last breath that sounded like he was releasing the weight of the world. I have a feeling he did exactly just that." Largely working under low budget for direct-to-video market, Pyun developed an immersive form of dreamy lighting, post-apocalyptic dilapidation, and surreal ballistic action that found an enthusiastic following among genre film audiences. Right here. Pyun teamed with a who's who of action movie icons such as Jean-Claude Van Damme, Christopher Lambert, Burt Reynolds, Snoop Dogg, Charlie Sheen, Ice-T, Lance Henriksen, Ronnie Cox, Chris Christopherson, James Colburn, Rutger Hauer, and Dennis Hopper. So, story time. I have one story. I have a one Albert Pyun story, personal story for you. And then I'll share some of the things I have collected from his movies over the years. So, about 5 or 6 years ago, I contacted Albert. I got on his Facebook and I was just like, "Hey, I love your movies, and hey, I'm a fan. How's it going?" I didn't expect a response, but I got one. And apparently he lurked on my page because I had put a picture of an ad of a short-lived 1992 TV show that was on NBC starring Alex MacArthur called The Fifth Corner. It would have been a really good show if they had not canceled it after about 3 episodes. So anyway, I didn't realize that Albert had directed the 3rd episode, but he did. And he contacted me and asked me, because I had put a post up saying that I had recorded a couple episodes from the show, because I was really into it. It was a 2-hour movie followed by 1-hour episodes. The 2-hour movie was really good and got me hooked, so I was excited. So Albert asked me if I had that episode that he directed, which was it was either the second or the third episode, and I had it. And I told him, and he was very excited because he had never gotten to see the final version. He never got to see when it aired. Because I think his episode was the last one that aired, and then they scrapped it. Um, and I told him that I did have it on VHS, because this was 92, a couple years before DVDs came out. So I did. I transferred it to a DVD, and I sent it to him. And I told him, I was like, look, I don't want nothing in return. I'm just happy to do this for you, because I'm happy to be, to be talking to you, because you're one of my favorite filmmakers. So anyway, a couple weeks later, I did get a package from him. And I opened it. Hang on. I'm gonna see if I can... Here it is. So, he sent me this. I'm gonna open it up. It's a 2-movie collection. The first film is called Left 4 Dead Inferno, and the other film is called Bullet Face. They're 2 of his later films. So the movies are on DVD, and this set comes with 2 CD soundtracks, 1 for each film, free of charge. Whoop. And there was a nice note from Cynthia, his wife, thanking me for doing that. I did contact Albert after that and asked him if he had seen the DVD, and he said he did, and he appreciated it, and he loved watching it. So that really made me feel good that I was able to do that for him. So that's my personal story. I don't really know Albert or knew him, other than the limited interactions I had with him on his Facebook page. But that was great. So now I want to just kind of go through his films, more of his notable films. Obviously, this is the 1990 version of Captain America, which there's some Pyun I have not seen, and I have not seen this one. I have not heard anything good about it, so that's probably why I haven't seen it. This might be my favorite film of his. There's a couple that are really great, and this definitely fits the bill. Cyborg is still just a great post-apocalyptic film. Just you haven't seen it, I would encourage you to do just that. Dangerously Close came out in '86. More of a crime drama type film, a little different from what he normally does. He normally did sci-fi, post-apocalyptic type stuff. Very good movie. John Stockwell comes out in it. Probably one of his last acting roles before he started directing. So there's that. They had a pretty cool 80s soundtrack, and that's an ad for that. Dollman, never seen it. Heard good things, just hadn't gotten around to it. I hear it's really fun. Tim Thomerson, who I also love. Down Twisted, very good. Thriller, crime drama type film. Recommend it. Carrie Lowell comes out in it. If you know who she is, I think she was on Law and Order SVU, or one of the Law and Orders for a number of years. She was also the Bond girl in License to Kill, which was Timothy Dalton's last Bond film from 1989. And this is actually from, well, I take it back. It's from 87. For some reason, I was thinking it's 89. Anyway, we move on to Nemesis, his best action film. Nemesis is fantastic. Set in the near future, cyborgs, machine guns, running, chasing, killing. It's got everything, and even some boobs. I highly recommend Nemesis. It's a fun ride. It really is. They made a bunch of sequels. They're not very good. This is the one. Now, Radioactive Dreams came out in 1985. It was my first exposure to Albert Pyun, and it's great. It's hard to describe what this movie is. It's post-apocalyptic. It's also film noir. Okay? It's got all kinds of elements in it. Genre elements. Sci-fi, horror. Hell, part of it's even a musical. This thing's got it all. One of the things that I've been waiting for is this movie to come out on DVD, Blu-ray, something. Some kind of disc. Still hasn't happened. Thought it would happen when Vestron started doing their video series on Blu-ray, because Vestron released it. Here it is. Vestron. Still waiting for you to do this, guy. Anyway. If you have not seen it, my God, find this movie. It's hard to find, but it's possible. And I think whatever efforts you go into finding it will be justified. There's bootlegs out there. Go find a bootleg. Buy one for $10. It's great. This is his first movie, The Sword and the Sorcerer. Came out in '82. The greatest year of film, in my opinion. 1982. Look it up. Anyway, The Sword and the Sorcerer, great fantasy film. It was a great springboard for Albert jumping into Hollywood. And as far as, that goes, that's how he started it. If you don't know the history of Albert, I suggest you look him up on IMDb and Wikipedia. And hang on, we're not done yet. We are not. There were 2 films that Albert had been working on the past 5-6 years. They're unfinished. I know Cynthia had said that she would very much like to finish these projects, and I hope she can. This is one of them. It's called Badass Angels and Demons. I believe it's a Cyborg prequel. So, and the other film he had, I think it's pretty much done. Well, if I can find it, it's Interstellar Civil War, Guardians of the Future. And I know it's mostly finished. And I'm pretty sure that Cynthia was going to try to get that one done too. So, one last piece of business is some of the movies that I have in my collection, which I've already shown you. Radioactive Dreams, and then these 2. Then I have Nemesis. Down Twisted. And these are Whoops. This is a DVD. It's a bootleg because at the time there were no official home media copies of this film, like on disc at all at the time. So, and then I have quite a few versions of Cyborg. That's the original DVD from MGM. Here's the Blu-ray that Screen Factory produced a few years ago. And this is called Slinger, which is the director's cut of Cyborg. And it's probably got... it probably has an extra 5 minutes in it. And the footage isn't very good. It's from a work print. And it looks pretty bad. But he went ahead and released it. And it's, you know, the added footage is interesting. It doesn't really add anything to the film, so it was interesting to see. So anyway, those are all my Albert movies that I have in my collection right now. There's others I want to get. You know, I need to, you know, find that bootleg of Radioactive, and need to find a better copy of Down Twisted, which is really a good movie. Anyway, sorry that Albert's gone, but his movies will remain, and he will live on through them. So there you have it. This is Mike with Film Facet. We'll see you on the other side.